Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. Today's video is incredibly important, and in essence it's the whole journey, the whole spiritual path that I'm going to give to you today in a way that is understandable in hopefully a short amount of time as well. And it's related to our relationship with the divine and how you can develop your relationship with the divine. So many of my subscribers, many of you watching this, maybe you practice meditation, maybe you've come to the spiritual path through another way. But ultimately, we all have a North Star, whether we know it or not. That North Star is the absolute. It's God, it's the universe, it's the realization of the divine. How do we do that? How do we go from ignorance into knowing? One way, at least, is the path that I take, which is of devotion. It's of developing a relationship with the divine and closing the gap that way, so to speak. Because on the absolute level, I know that I'm one with God at all times, but on the relative level, I'm not experiencing that yet. And I want to liken this path to a relationship when you're a teenager. Did you ever get into a relationship where perhaps your intentions were more about sexual attraction? Maybe you just fancied the person because of the way they looked. And so your relationship with that person was based purely on your own needs. Many people seek the divine in the same way. They seek the divine because they want something from the divine. They have some problem that they need solving, something to fix, something to heal. They want something. In a similar way, as we mature as spiritual beings, as spiritual seekers, the way that we communicate and the relationship that we develop with the divine will also mature and develop. So many people will start off at that point. They want something from the divine. It's got to be, there's a selfish intent in there, and it's impure. When we develop in the world and we get a bit older, we then perhaps will find someone or seek a relationship with someone because of the attributes that they have and how they match up with you. In this sense, there is still selfish intent a lot of the time, but you're purifying that intent. You're being with that person because they make you feel good and you like their company. So that's a kind of selfish reason, you could say. But it's less so about something that you're going to get from them in terms of like sexually, it's purely sexual. There's more to it. It's a deeper relationship. There's more connections there. In the same way, in line with that, as our spiritual path develops, we will realize more and more in a gradual way that the divine also has more to it than just we can gain, little pleasures or little fixes from things. There's more to that relationship. As that progresses further, when in daily life, one day for me at least, and I saw this with my granddad and my grandma, they got to a point where, my grandma was basically past, at the end of her life, coming to the end of her life for the last 6 months. My granddad was full-time caring for her. Absolutely full-time. And in that part of the relationship, they were married for, I think, 69 years, maybe 59. I can't remember now, but a hell of a long time, their whole life. And in that part of their relationship, my granddad was absolutely, completely selfless. He was gaining nothing from my grandma for himself. He was running around the house doing everything for her. He was cleaning her, he was feeding her, putting her to bed, giving her tea when she was in bed. Everything was selfless. And he did it not because he had to. He did have to, but at the same time, he could have put her in a care home. But he did it out of selfless love. And he mentioned it in a roundabout way with my dad. It's just something that he took on at that part of the relationship. And he was happy to do that because it was just love. Love is totally selfless. Love doesn't want anything. It doesn't need anything. It's totally outward. And this leads me on to where we need to get to with our relationship with the divine. And that is that we serve the divine because of our love for the divine. We don't want anything. We're not expecting anything. We're not looking for little fixes and little cures and little pleasures and, tinsels and trash, as Sai Baba calls it. We just serve the divine or communicate with the divine out of pure love for the divine. And that is the difference. And that is something that is so, so important on this path. And yeah, it's a journey, right? I'm not saying this and expecting everyone to immediately fall into that way of being, because to some extent it comes naturally. But you can turn the ship, so to speak, and start that process a bit sooner. And that makes such a difference. Many people will say, well, God never replies to me. I've asked for this. God never helps me with this. He never appeared when I was in this trouble or this situation. And I'm not talking for God here and saying why that was, because there could be many, many reasons. But a definite big part of my belief as to why we struggle, a lot of people at least struggle to connect with the divine, is because it's for very selfish, impure reasons. And I've been involved in meditation, as many of my subscribers know, since I was 6 years old. My dad was a meditation teacher. I was taught by a divine avatar, so I had many truths just given to me immediately when I was near enough born. Through my own journey, because of course I've had to go through those various stages, it's become clearer and clearer and clearer to me, and I've experienced it more and more, that my own pure love for the divine has rapidly increased my connection with the divine. It's all about how to selflessly serve God. So I try to do this now through my work. When I create these videos now, and to be fair, from the very start, I've pretty much adopted this mentality. I try as best as I can to not do it for views, for comments, for something for myself. I try to do it in the service of the divine. I will sit down before I make a video and say, how can I help you today? How can I work for you today? How can I serve you today? And when I do that from a pure place, the whole thing flows totally differently. And the more and more we can do that, the more and more depth and connection we find. And in a sense, it's surrender, isn't it? It's letting go of what you need. It's putting the ego to one side, putting your and our selfish desires to one side, and understanding that there's something much greater than us, that if we allow room for it to serve through us, in a sense, we will feel that love. We'll feel that sense of expanded love. And I guess that's what I want to share with you today, is there is a journey, there is a process and evolution to your relationship with the divine. And as I see it, the pinnacle is serving for the sake of serving, not wanting anything in return, which is the purest form of charity there is doing something without telling anyone you're doing it and not wanting a thing in return, just doing it because that is the right thing to do. That's the thing that you want to do, and doing it with as much love as possible. I wanted to share this message with you today. If you're interested in being part of a school that will help you to develop along the path, if you want to learn different styles of meditation to facilitate your spiritual progress, I have an online school. I'll leave a link in the description. We've got about 350 plus students in there at the minute, all around the world. So it's an amazing place to continue your spiritual path with an amazing community. But failing that, I'll see you on the next video. Thanks a lot.